welcome Sasha Thackaberry-Voinovich to Voices of Innovation. This is our podcast series from the ASU+GSV Summit. We're thrilled to have you here. You and I have known each other over many, many years. We're going to do less conversation about where we know each other from and more give you an opportunity to be sharing some of the most exciting and disruptive activities that you're involved in. You've always been advisory, you've always been designer, you've always been building things, but your new project is actually standing up a whole new enterprise. And so why don't we go right there?
All right.
Voices of Innovation invites big thinkers with bold ideas who are here at the ASU+GSV Summit to talk about the influence of technology in today's society and our future of education. I'm your host, Gonick from Arizona State University. Let's jump in.
So I am starting a brand new university, which is not something that people do a lot. It's called New State University. And it is all the things actually that higher ed has been talking about for like a decade. And it's just really hard to move higher ed as, there's a lot of legacy, right? And legacy can be good and strong, but we're at an inflection point. So this new university is certificate first. It's fully stackable. It's competency-based, so someone can truly move at their own pace. And it goes anywhere from an individual certificate all the way to a master's degree.
All right, let's break it down.
All right,
let's break it down. So New State University. So yes. Is that like something that's on a piece of paper? Or is like you say you're building it? So
yes.
Is it actually real?
Yes. So it is actually live. Last Thursday, we were approved to operate as a university and confer degrees in the state of Utah, hot off the presses, which opens up Louisiana. And then we're going to go state by state for about 15-ish states. And then our accreditation journey begins. And so, yeah, the idea is to do it up all official like.
Right. And then the second piece is, again, you began to share this, that you're basically addressing some of the systemic sort of wish list activities that we've known, all kinds of things that haven't been optimized for where real learners need to meet their future in terms of skills and workforce. So let's break down again, as you were beginning to share, the ways in which you're building this new university to be stackable, credential based, and talk through kind of how you thought about designing this university, because as you said, like, you don't get to start a new university every day.
Yeah. Well, really thinking about it actually from a consumer perspective, which is something we don't like to say a lot about in higher ed, but the expectation is that you should be able to go somewhere and just do the thing, right? And so the concept behind the university, and there is nothing preventing this from happening, is an individual can go, enroll, and start the same day. And you can do that if you have a competency-based structure where anyone can start at any time. So it's built around the student rather than built around a time-based system.
So no admissions deadlines?
Nope.
Okay, what about having to do it in a cohort? Do you have to do it in a cohort?
No cohort.
Do you have to actually find a way of declaring a major on day one?
Actually, that thing is different. That thing, you have to decide what your endpoint is, but then it unlocks one at a time. So you take one course at a time, and then it unlocks the next course. But if you have transfer credit, we will happily accept your transfer credit. If you have professional certifications, like if you have a PMP, we will accept that as prior learning credit. And so it's really built for people who don't want to go into tens of thousands of dollars of debt, who may already have part of their degree, but need it to work in their life in a really flexible way.
Right. We want to come back in just a little bit to the financial proposition, because I know, having done my homework, that is a non-trivial piece of the design. So let's though talk about your strategy, because you're opening a brand new, and on day one in Utah or Louisiana, as you were saying, like how many different courses of study are already ready to go?
Okay, so
what are they?
So we're only doing 4 things.
Okay.
And our idea is to really focus on fields where there is a constellation of credentials. So there's no one winner. So like not an RN to BSN, right? Where there are many things that have value, things that can scale, things that are not highly regulated. And this is important, things that are in fields where people can get family sustaining wages and can develop careers. That's business, obviously, business and AI, project management and AI, product management and AI, and customer experience.
And AI?
And no.
Oh, just customer experience.
No. It's all, AI is in every single degree.
I want to stop and put an exclamation point on it.
All right.
I think that this is so important. Here we are at ASU+GSV, and everybody is talking about where AI fits in. And what I've heard you just say is that actually it's AI first.
Yeah.
Preparing workforce.
Absolutely.
That obviously is going to be joining an AI economy.
100%.
And so how have you designed those stackable credentials one course at a time?
Yeah. So we actually have some amazing faculty. I just happen to know a lot of very awesome people in the field. And what they did is really use all different sorts of resources. We put them all into a language model and used a very sophisticated set of prompts, a lot of trial and error, in order to actually build the components that lead to the curriculum. So the curriculum is completely built. Those 4 associate's degrees, 3 bachelor's and MBA, are made up of 65 courses. So there's nothing optional, right?
So it's lockstep.
It's lockstep, completely lockstep.
Competency driven. So as you pass through one, it opens the door to the next.
Absolutely. Like there was some interesting data that came out on Coursera and how there is, a comparative handful of their programs and the vast majority of their enrollments, and a lot of them are in AI. Our central thesis is you don't need thousands of courses. You need the right courses.
And in an applied setting.
And in an applied setting. Yeah. Because context matters, right?
Super exciting to sort of think about the opportunity almost in a greenfield way to kind of do the redesign. And so, it also then just sort of strikes me as like, how are you thinking again, this is all brand new, but I know you've been working on this for a very long time because we've kept in touch with each other as you've begun to do this work. How have you begun to go to market? How is it that folks, again, this is your first pass. First passes matter in terms of reputation in the marketplace. How have you been thinking strategically of getting the word out? And of course, being on the podcast on Voices of Innovation, I hope is one small little activity. Being at ASU+GSV is another way of us helping to amplify creative, disruptive players like yourself. But in general, just talk for a moment about how folks who might be tuning in or being able to take snippets of this through both of our social media, how will they learn about, the new experience, the new university experience? Yeah.
So, we haven't actually activated any of our social channels, but our central thesis is that, the net value of original content is approaching 0 because there is content everywhere. The value of it is the context around it, how it stacks, and how you develop your skills around it. So a lot of our content, we are going to just put out there for free. We want people to see our lessons, our videos. We want them to be able to experience what we're doing, and we want them to create content as well. So,
and presumably then, while that might be sort of a freemium model,
right?
There is a easy pathway, presumably, to click for either taking the assessment,
of course,
and then paying if you want the opportunity to go to the next step through a credentialing approach. Let's talk a little bit about the finances, because I know you wanted to go there. So again, you certainly have been, you and I have been in this space for a very long time, and we've both been part of very disruptive moments when it comes to financial models, some of it by choice, but mostly reacting. But here you've been able to design it de novo.
Yes.
So how have you approached sort of, the model for actually, developing a business that helps ultimately underwrite the talent that you're bringing to actually deliver this curriculum that you're building.
Yes, 100%. So obviously it's a scale-based financial model, right? It is entirely pay as you go. So while we are going down the accreditation path, we are not going down the Title IV path. That's because there are a lot of regulations. It requires different technology systems. It's a quagmire. So it's $300 a month subscription.
All right. So let's just so in contrast to the competition, just say a word about kind of how you sort of see others and why this subscription model, which was again another, I thought, very innovative approach. Market will will tell us whether or not there's interest in it.
Absolutely.
But tell us kind of how you position that offering in the context of the slightly broader disruptors like yourself,
right,
on the adjacencies to the financial model that you have.
Yeah. So there is a space in between these extremely short form credentials that you see, edX, Coursera, Udemy actually has some really cool stuff, and universities degrees that are more traditional. And there is this sort of gap in between them. So I needed to do some research, like, will people pay for this, right? Like, will somebody just shell out $300? And it turns out that a lot of adults, 44% of people who go for their master's pay out of pocket anyways. The average person who takes out loans also has to pay stuff. I mean, we're taking for traditional students, like, there's still a family contribution of about $11,000, and students themselves pay about $2,400. So if you look at that for non-traditional students, it's actually incredibly affordable. And that affordability is what we think is going to get us over the brand hump, because New State University, that's new as a feature, not a bug.
Right. And so obviously, establishing reputation in the market is obviously everything comes down to that. That's going to be hugely important. And so other questions that, again, students enrolling in New State are likely to say is, can I transfer credit in? I think you've said there are ways, including prior experience. What about transferring credit out?
Good question. So I may be meeting with a few people. I think articulation agreements is going to be really important as we are going down an accreditation pathway, because you can't tell students, like, this will be accredited. That's not helpful to them, right? The ultimate goal is to have that portability in and that portability out. So we are hoping to have some of those articulation agreements. So if students want it, not everybody wants a degree in project management, but they may want an associate's and a bachelor's in something else. Great. I would love to have a pathway to another university. And all our competencies are using the CBEN quality framework. I'm on the Quality Matters board. Like, I'm an instructional designer by trade. And the DQP, we've aligned all of our program level outcomes to the degree qualifications profile. So rigor is important.
Right. So aspirations, that are tightly aligned to possibilities. These are not fantasy kinds of aspirations, but of course it's all in the execution.
It is.
At ASU+GSV, for folks who are listening into us, the reality is it's a really interesting marketplace. You've got, disruptive founders like yourself. You've got university folks who are here. You've got K-12 folks who are here. You got workforce folks who are here, but you also have investors who are here.
Yes.
So the question I want to ask you is, how have you actually stood up New State?
Yeah.
Has it been a bootstrapping exercise? Has it been kind of maxing out credit cards or twisting arms of friends and family? And in addition to kind of how you've gotten here, what do you see as the next step in order to, again, begin to fill out the New State offering?
Yep, absolutely. So you're, when you think of who is funding this operation, you are absolutely looking at her. Myself and my husband made a really important decision that we believe in this and we believe in the need for it. So bootstrapping. I have actually a lot of people doing things on this project, some of whom who've worked for me previously, who believe that this is going to be a big thing. But I'm looking for investors who are interested in pre-seed things that are not only disruptive, but like are executable, which is why I really think it's important that it exists. Like, this is not a fantasy. You can go to the website, you can start the process. Like, it's a thing, right? Proof is in the pudding.
And at this meeting, one of the things that we're hearing, and I'd love your sort of read on the moment that we're in, is that there's a ton of headwinds at the moment coming at us. And, I've been speaking with investors, big and small, and a lot of them are concerned at the moment that things are going to get gummed up. And, and investable, whether it's equity or whether it's, more traditional credit-driven investment opportunities are going to quickly, the gears are going to lock in along the way. And folks are looking for, as best as I can tell, a real product with battle-tested leaders, founders, who actually have content and can show revenue.
Yeah.
I think you hit all four. So what is the feedback that you're getting in your initial exploration for, again, seed and early stage investment in your your venture?
Yeah. So the first thing you do when you talk to someone about a new university is they think you're kidding, right? They're like, excuse me. And then they think, oh, accreditation is crazy. You're going to have to spend a fortune buying a failing institution, trying to turn that around. And actually, you know, and I know, years in this business, there are ways to get things done. You just have to be able to do them. And all the uncertainty for me, I think it's great for New State University. I think people don't want to go into more debt. And I think we have a lot of people that need to be upskilled in AI like now, right?
You know, we come here every year to kind of get a pulse as to what's going on in the marketplace. And the prognostication, the crystal ball part of it is, so a year from now, when we get back together again and we get onto the stage and we get a chance to learn where New State and where Sasha and her team are at, what are the key milestones that you think we're going to be able to share with folks in terms of we managed to execute, and in executing, we are through our critical, whether you use them OKRs or KPIs or invest. What is so important for you in the next 12 months that we can come back to, play this tape over again and say, so Sasha,
absolutely.
How's it going?
Yeah. So first, thousands of students. I mean, literally, I need at least several thousand students in a year. The second thing, though, is I think there's going to be engagement around this. I think people are going to be like, yes, I want something different. I want something new. I want something that works. And I want our entire architecture to be set up to be highly automated. I think people expect that. And I think we can do that. And I also think there's going to be just giant disruption overall. I think you're absolutely right. People are going to be reluctant to invest in things right now, right? It's like, which direction do you go in? But I think you go into that space, you go into it boldly, and you believe in it, and this is going to work. I'm excited, scared, terrified, and excited.
That's terrific. And honestly, Sasha, you know, again, I wish you obviously all the best in this venture. We hope that, in fact, you know, you will, I know, be part of the ecosystem in important and disruptive ways. Love your, you know, your commitment and your passion and your moral purpose. I mean, because I do know that in addition to being a professional colleague for so many years, I know the town from which you come.
Cleveland,
and Cleveland, Ohio, you know, where again, the salt of the earth in terms of commitment to doing right for the public purpose. And, you know, thank you again for being on Voices of Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Sasha Thackaberry-Voinovich.
Thank you for having me.